Okay, so we're at the AMC Shiloh 14 here on the west side of Billings, and I'm gonna go in and watch the 40th anniversary edition of Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta back when he was young, and this was the movie that catapulted him to stardom. Surprisingly, there's no movie poster outside, but I guess for a single showing per day, they probably don't feel it's warranted. But hey, I'm here for the nostalgia, so gonna go check it out and see how it is. You gotta love a movie that is still as relevant today as it was back in 1977 when it first shown in theaters. This is a story about Tony Manero, played by John Travolta. This was the movie that really launched him into superstardom. He plays a ladies' man, he plays a dancer, he loves going to the disco. That's his life. He goes out during the week, he works all week, and what does he do to blow off steam on the weekend? Goes out and dances. I'll tell you what, back in the 70s, everybody loved dancing. Well, maybe not everybody, but a majority of people did. And Tony is no exception. In fact, he takes an interest in a couple of the gals in the movie who wants to dance with in order to be in a contest. Why not? First place was $500 for the contest. Who wouldn't want $500 in 1977, right? Yep, he's your typical adolescent, coming of age type person who has a family. He goes out and helps out the local hardware store. He's a pretty cool guy all around, but he has some social issues of his own. And that's what I think is another good takeaway from this movie. Like, take for example this scene where he goes out and takes care of some punks who wronged him, and they do it the old-fashioned way. And of course, taking one for the team ends up causing one of them to end up being in the hospital, of course. But one of the other scenes that I've forgotten about in this movie was where one of his friends actually ends up getting killed.
I didn't want to fuck up, Bob. Come on, we'll talk, all right? I didn't want to fuck up this time.
Now, say what you will, this scene hit me pretty hard, even watching it 4 decades later. But all in all, Saturday Night Fever is a fun experience, one that should definitely go seen and experienced, especially for all the really awesome dancing, not to mention all the really deep storylines that were part of this story. If you haven't seen it yet, you really should go watch it. And if you already have seen it, well, go out and watch it again. Okay, so here's the thing. Is this movie worth the price you pay to get into it? Because the cost of admission is, for these kind of movies, because they're sponsored by Phantom Events or Turner Classic Movies, it's $12.50 to get in the door, which by today's standards is pretty pricey. Now granted, now the theater I go to, which is the AMC Shiloh 14, now if you got your movie bucket for the popcorn before they took over from Carmike, they're going to honor this for the rest of the year, which is good. So you get like $4, and the drinks pretty pricey. It's like $6 something, so about $9.50 total. So, but here's the thing: is the experience really worth it? Yes, it is. I'll tell you why. Because this is a movie that I first saw in 1977 when it first came out. If you have seen this movie, back when you were a kid, back in 1977, you probably would just saw it for what it is. It's a movie that basically speaks of the times, because you have the wonderful music of the Bee Gees and all the other disco performers of the time. You look at it nowadays, and it reminds you of that era because it's pure 70s. This is back when John Travolta was really skyrocketed to fame. But beyond the music and the fashion of the time, you also have to look at the overall story that takes place, because there are some serious elements that take place in this. And this is back in a time where if you were to try to make a movie like this today, you probably wouldn't be able to go quite the lengths that they did, because there were quite a few elements in there that by today's standards people would probably all poo-poo over for one reason or another. But back in the day, that's, these were the themes that were in the movies. So I think it's important for a movie like this to be seen and remembered because of what it actually is and what it's all about. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, you really should, especially now that they're being touted around in theaters for their 40th anniversary. Is it worth almost $25 for one person to go see? That's a personal decision. That's up to you. Did I think it was worth it? Sure, why not? It was a fun fling. What the heck? I like the fact that Fathom Events and Turner Classic Movies are bringing these movies back to big screens so that way people could enjoy them in a large format again. Now, granted, at this particular theater, besides myself, at this particular showing, there were like 2 other people in the theater, in the entire theater. So, yeah, it was almost pretty much a private showing at that point with a really big screen. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if other people are going to go see the other showings of it, but, for me it was fun. It was a good fling, and I do plan on watching more of the classic movies in the theaters, because these guys are bringing back some really good, iconic movies back to the big screen. In fact, in a couple weeks, they're going to be showing Smokey and the Bandit. Later on this year, I come to find out they're showing one of my absolute favorite 80s movies, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Am I going to go see that? Oh, are you nuts? Are you kidding? Of course I am. Definitely going to go watch it in the big screen. So if you love movies like Smokey and the Bandit and Fast Times at Ridgemont High, definitely take some time and go spend a little money. Go see it in the theater, because it's not just the cost, it's the experience that you get that goes along with it. Because we were all young once. We all went to the movie theaters. And granted, it's gotten a lot more expensive now than it used to be. But I think it's worth taking the time, getting out of the house, getting away from whatever it is you're doing, and going to take a break. Just go soak in a movie without any distractions at all. No phones around you, no computers around you, no nothing. It's just a pure unplug, sit back, soak in the ambience, and enjoy the movie. So I hope this was a little bit entertaining for you. If not, maybe just a tiny bit informative. As always, if you want to come back and see some more, if you want to get notifications, by all means, go ahead and click that subscribe button. You know where it is. Till next time, as I always say, live a little random every day, and we will catch you in the next one.